Hi guys, my name is Varun and today we are here to talk about an important topic of thinking. You see, generally when we talk about thinking, there is always a giant emphasis placed on what we think, but not a lot of people seem to wonder on how we think. And only by learning how we think will we be able to make it effective in our entire thinking process. And for this, there is actually a very simple example that you can give. Where do you generate all your thoughts? All the thoughts come from the thinking angle, right? You think something and those are generated into your thoughts. Now here the distinction between thinking and thought is very simple. Thinking refers to knowledge. It is the knowledge with which you are able to think about a particular task. Now your thoughts are a multitude of things that confuse you to your very core. Thoughts lead to a lot of aversion and has that dirty, slimy thing that seems to have a detrimental effect on you known as desire. Now, as we have spoken in countless videos before, desire is the root cause of all evil. Now, when we have a desire, it is never ending. It's not going to end today, day after tomorrow, or ever. These desires are going to keep growing in size, keep growing in need, and never cease to exist. So here the problem is, when our desires are not satisfied, we develop a plethora of emotions. There could be fear, anger, anxiety, and so on and on and on. Now here the key word is anger. Many of us, we have a count on why we get angry, and you would have heard numerous articles or videos where you would have seen that count from 1 to 10, hold a stress buster ball and your anger will fly away. But in reality, we first need to understand why we get angry in a situation, and that is because of the development of desire. Now you see, just like how we develop desire, that is the same way we develop thoughts. Thoughts are something that just keeps generating one after the other. So as these thoughts are generated, you use the thoughts to generate your thinking and not use the thinking to generate the thoughts. There is a very subtle difference between both, but a very, very important one. Now, if you're able to generate your thoughts through the thinking process, you're going through a fine line of deciding what is good for you and what is bad for you. But if you let your thoughts decide what is right for the thinking, then it becomes an addiction. And for an addiction, I have a perfect analogy, especially for the modern world. Around my age, many people enjoy gaming. Right? Gaming seems to be the modern art of how the young blood wants to enjoy their life. Now, this is something that I read recently in an article which said that there was a young boy around 16, 17, and he was a son of a maid who was working for a very rich doctor. Now, he was retired and his sons were abroad. So the maid was also in some way the caretaker of this old man. So what happened was, this old man was not so tech savvy and he wanted a lot of help in how to manage all his technical details that includes his smartphone and the internet gadgets and everything. So this young boy, who had an eager mind in learning more about technology, lent a helping hand to this old man. He said that I'll help you by doing this, and slowly as he started exploring more and more of the digital world, he discovered something that his entire age group was mad about, and that was gaming. Now, first eyes on that particular industry of gaming, he was addicted. His thought was generated right into his head that he was addicted and he was ready to do anything to satisfy his desire of playing a game. Now, pretty well, since he was the son of a maid, he could not afford certain gadgets where he could program certain games. So this old man, with his bank account, he had logged into many premium subscriptions of certain games, and he had downloaded it and played it on and on and on. This went on for a couple of years until they had actually finally discovered it. But that is a different story. But you think about this little boy for a while. This little boy who just wanted to play, which is fine. But here, the thought of playing a game had become an addiction pretty quickly. And that addiction made his thinking work to satisfy that addiction. The thinking was not working here to satisfy one's own needs, but it created his wants into needs. Now, when you develop such a desire of wanting to play a game at any cost, much like this boy, he had nothing left in doing anything. He had no options of how he can play a game, but still he wanted to play. So all his intelligence, everything that he had learned, was all put in how he can play a game. Now this is what happens when you leave your thoughts to decide your thinking. That is why the thought says that when you're thinking a particular idea, you do not modify on a particular idea, but rather you create a transformation through an idea. That is why in Tamil there is a saying that says, don't keep cooking the same old meat that has been churning out for centuries. You see, someone makes something, you add a little bit of flavor over there, and then another person adds a little bit flavor, and another, and so on and on. But try something new, not a modification, but a transformation. Because a modification is not here to stay, but a transformation will stand the test of time. And that is exactly what we mean by saying that we have to learn how we think and not worry about what we need to think. Because if the first aspect is cleared, the second aspect will gradually become more clear. And there is a famous story that goes with this. When a man is hungry, don't just take a fish and give it to him. Rather teach him the art of how he needs to fish, so that he would know what to do when he's hungry for the rest of his life. Now when we teach people the art of thinking, the result is always perpetual for them, rather than making them what to think. And that is the point behind this entire verse, trying to make you think on the process of thinking itself. And for the first step to do that is just to free your mind, and it will always lead the way. Now that's a wrap for this particular episode, and as always, thank you for watching, and until the next episode, it is goodbye.